Greetings and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Joy. I am your host, Joy Bong, and we are recording live from Atlanta, Georgia. And here in the studio with me, I do have an international publicist who is reading articles on politics and social issues affecting several African continents as well as Nigeria specifically. I'm speaking about no one else than Mr. or better yet, let me put it this way, Honorable Alex Obi Osuala. Mr. Alex Osuala, thank you so very much for coming in today to grace this occasion with me. And I know the audience, they're looking forward to today's interview. And, I know you're going to, speak about a lot of issues and concerns is arising in Africa and Nigeria as a whole. So if you would, let's just go ahead and start up. Could you just provide the audience with a little bit of background information about yourself and what you do when you're not working diligently serving the people of Nigeria and Africa as a whole?
Yeah, Joy, thank you for having me on your program.
Thank you.
You're looking so beautiful today.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm Alex Obi Osuala. People call me Honorable.
Great.
I was born in Nigeria, from Mufware, Imo State. Had my education in Nigeria. I went to College of the Immaculate Conception, CIC in Enugu.
Okay.
From there, went to University of Lagos, where I did a course on criminal justice from the Department of Public Law. And also, from there, went to Ondo State University, where I had my BS in psychology.
Awesome.
And also took exams with Nigerian Institute for Public Relations. I also chartered in public relations. I'm a member of Nigerian Institute for Public Relations. So I had a program with Western Governors University. I did my master's program.
A master's program at Western Governors University.
That's in USC at Salt Lake, Utah. That's in management and leadership.
Awesome.
Okay,
Awesome.
So that's basically what it is. And good to be with you today on your show.
Thank you so very much. Now let's proceed further. As an international publicist, as you've written dynamic several articles on politics and social issues in Africa and Nigeria as a whole. Now, did any of these articles really inspire you to contest for the next upcoming elections, and why, precisely?
I just have this flair for writing. Okay. It's just something I like to do, especially on political issues, but it has not motivated me in any way into political cycle. But the thing is this. You see, when you see the trends in our society, especially in Nigeria, not in the United States, where we're talking right now, how things we are going right about them, you see them, you experience them, you're part of it. The things start nagging you, do you want to be part of it somehow? And that's what it is. It has not really, pushed me to that extent, but I'm a political fellow somehow. So
okay.
I love politics. I like to follow politics. And I've also been involved in politics.
Okay.
But it's not because of my writing, though. Just what it is. And hopefully the upcoming election, we don't know where it's heading to, but as we progress in this interview, I'm going to highlight more on my political situation, on things I've done politically and the rest of them. Okay. But writing articles and talking about politics and emphasizing on issues in our society, the trends, things that goes on with Nigeria, Africa, most especially bad government and the rest of them, is something in me, has an innate flair I have in me to just, talk about it, write about it, discuss about it, and hope there will be a better way to solve Nigerian problems.
Awesome.
So hopefully that's where we're heading to.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so very much. Now, tell us about your role, about being a stakeholder in the Imo State Congress of America.
ISCA is a fantastic organization, very beautiful organization here, mostly in United States, but they also comprise every part of the world where you see an Imo person in Nigeria. ISCA most especially is about Imo people who reside in diaspora everywhere. They look out for them. I became involved with ISCA through one of the fantastic lawyers in Atlanta, Georgia, Charles Onyerimba. who called me up and gave me an appointment when he was national president for the whole United States. So I was the ISCA representative to Hanez and Debo in Nigeria.
Okay.
That's how I came into them. But by birth, being somebody from Imo State, Nigeria, I'm a member of ISCA. And they're doing a very good job.
Yes.
And I was directed by the president then, Charles, to inaugurate the first ISCA Homeland Committee in Nigeria.
Awesome.
This is where you come in Imo State. We did it in Imo State, and this is not partisan. You have to call the stakeholders in Imo State, lawyers most especially, those who are the leaders in Imo State. You bring all of them together. Then you set them up to know exactly what ISCA is all about. What is ISCA all about? Basically, to fight for any Imo person anywhere in the world. If you have a problem, if you have issues, legal issues, you have issues you don't know where to run to, you just call upon ISCA.
And they're there to support you.
And they're there to support you. For instance, and I want to mention this, which I didn't say when I was introducing myself, I was a member of JDPC, still a member of JDPC. I was a former deputy coordinator in Nigeria, especially in Catholic Church of Assumption, Falomo, Ikoyi, Lagos. Those days, that was many years back when I was actively involved with them. As one of the coordinators, I had to lead a team to Ikoyi prison in Nigeria. And we just tried to go there and give some humanitarian gift to them, because JDPC actually means Justice, Development and Peace Commission. It's a commission under the Catholic Church that look out for less privileged people.
Awesome. That's
We look out for widows, orphans, even those living with HIV and AIDS. We did all those things those days.
And I believe they're still in existence.
It's still there. It's very strong. Still very strong
awesome.
Too. And we went to Ikoyi prison. I want to say this because of ISCA. I mentioned this earlier. And we saw some people who were been languishing in jail for more than 10 years without trial.
Oh my God.
Some of them were arrested based on ordinary wandering on the road. And because there was no one to come and bail them from the police station, they transferred them to the prison. And they stayed there for so long. Yeah. And there are people who probably thought that they are already dead. Because when you don't see some of these guys came in from east to look for greener pasture in Lagos and missed their way. Somehow they landed in Ikoyi prison. They've been there for so many years then. We talked and we worked very hard to release some of them. And now, these are things ISCA could do. If you have an Imo person anywhere in Nigeria, anywhere in the world, and they are lost their ways and found themselves in such a situation without no help, you call on ISCA. That's why the Homeland Committee were formed in Imo State. Call on ISCA. If you have any contact, any person that heard about it, they will come and rescue you from there.
And we do have a strong ISCA support system here in the United States.
That's their base. Their base is here. They was formed here, and their base is strong here. They have their national president for the US, the whole USA, which was what Charles was. They have their state presidents in the whole United States. They also have expanded into other countries in Europe and the rest of them. So, and also now they have a Homeland Committee formed, set up by, I helped to set up in Nigeria and Imo State. So you can always call on them to that's what ISCA could do.
That's a great thing.
So they look out for every Imo indigene anywhere in the world.
All around the world. That's really good. It brings it back home to say that we're here to support you. It doesn't really matter where we are, but if you have any concern, any issue that you find yourself in, you as an Imo State born indigene, it doesn't matter what continent you were born. So for you have that, so for you have that DNA in you as being an Imo State indigene, then you can now call on ISCA to support you in one way or the other. That's really a great thing. It's a great foundation for the people. And now through that, now let's look at this. For the upcoming generation, we're faced with the probability that the upcoming generation, they're losing their culture. And, the values and language and the dress code. I mean, is that important to keep it? And then why? Because certain times, we do have some parents, they could be in diaspora and their kids are, they're there, but since they don't really have that Igbo culture or let's say the African culture ingrained in them, they begin to lose their ways and morals, have a strong value for culture. Now, how would you address that, if you would, please?
See, the whole thing starts from the home. The parent, the mother, the father, and whoever looks after these kids when the parents are not there. You have to inculcate your culture into those kids. You understand what I'm saying? If you miss that, I know about some parents who go about trying to be more Western than the Westerns, up to their kids. That is the way the culture
It's structured.
the culture is lost. When you tell your kids, when you try to show the example of certain dress code, certain language, certain behavior, that's one they're going to learn from. In psychology, we say a child was born what they call tabula rasa, blank slate, just like a computer. It's what you feed in that
it gives
back to you. So what I'm trying to say is that our culture could be maintained. I'm one of those who believe strongly in African culture, and you have to keep it maintained by letting them know this is the way we do our things, this is the way we do our things. What we go to Western countries to do, that's the truth. Take the best of there, the one that doesn't suit our culture that much, we try to be a little careful with it. You know, so impact the same thing on your kids.
That's very
when they grow, they will know, especially language.
Yeah, language.
See, let me tell you one thing. Nothing like language. You can't extinguish a culture or or what I can call ethnicity, a group. You can't just suffocate and throw them out. They have to live. And the only way to live is to maintain that language. When you have a baby, try to start from the one the baby can hear anything. Start speaking your language into the baby. Most of you, the strong ladies of Atlanta, you people, when you have your kids here, all you speak is English.
I know. But
everything.
Selectively.
When they grow up, you speak your language to them, your vernacular to them, they will say, what are you talking? What are you saying? What is he saying?
I know.
And that's not a good example.
Very true.
You have to start from when they were kids. I've met a couple of them here in Atlanta and US that speaks, especially Yoruba folks. I have to say this. Their kids speak Yoruba. Some Igbos too do, but not as much as others are doing. And ask them, how do they? We start from kindergarten, letting them know the language. So our culture could be promoted by us. It's the way we, let me tell you, the Mexicans in the United States, all their kids speak Mexican language.
Of course. They speak Spanish.
The Indians.
The same thing. Don't play,
The same thing. So what is happening to us? So it is we that we start from the onset and start letting these children know this is your culture and speak it into them and hold it onto them. And the only way they can speak that language is don't communicate in any other language to them except that one. When they go to their school, let them learn English. But at home, it's also affecting us in Nigeria. I'm from an Igbo tribe. The Igbo people in Lagos, mostly born in Lagos, don't really speak Igbo. So it's not just America. It's the way we structure or the way we train our kids from the beginning. We have to start talking about it. The dress code, very important too.
Yes, really.
You have to dress like, see the white drum?
Yes, of course.
You have to dress
diligently
like an African. We can maintain that culture. That's the only way we can push for that. It's not stopping you from being Western.
No, of course not.
It's not stopping you from anything any average Western person could do. It's just that you're going to have an additional, opportunity. You speak your language, you know your language, you know everything, then you also know the Western ones. And additional, just like I want to speak about 5 or 6 different languages.
Yes.
It still doesn't change your intellectual ability or anything. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So our culture has to be maintained anywhere you find yourself. And the only way to do that, when we have our kids anywhere in the world, we should impact into them the culture where we're coming from and make sure they understand it and they hold it tight.
Yes.
And it's going to be fun.
And I do, I do applaud you for what you're saying. It's really important to most of the parents. I do have a family that I know, though they are not Igbos, they're Yorubas here, and all your kids, as soon as they see any guest, especially if you're Nigerian or African, when they greet you, they also prostrate in front of you.
Which is the culture, too.
Which is the culture.
Well, that's not an Igbo culture.
Yeah, that's not an Igbo culture. But
That's not an Igbo culture.
I know
and I tell you something, that is what happened when I moved from East to Lagos initially. I had this elderly man, an Igbo man, who was supposed to be my father's friend, coming to the neighborhood where we are living, where we're staying. And as he was approaching, I saw him. I was so excited to see my father's dad. We were living in Enugu, coming in Lagos, and I rushed him. He just raised his hand for me to shake him. I shake his hand and he hugged me. a Yoruba woman there was so mad.
I know. It was not intentional.
Why didn't you prostrate? You said.
Exactly.
The man didn't mind, but that's, Igbo culture, we have different cultural things. So that's purely Yoruba, which is fantastic too.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now let's go to the other dimension when it comes to job opportunities, employment there in Nigeria, because that's what we're talking about. Now, do you believe that Nigeria is ready for outsourcing? How can they reap the benefits and how can they manage the challenges that comes with it? So we're dealing with success factors, risk, and also preparation when it deals with dealing with outsourcing. It doesn't matter if it's communication, telecommunication, oil and gas or engineering, just IT, just various aspects of it.
Nigerians are very intelligent people.
Of course.
Extremely very intelligent, very hardworking.
Yes.
Never say die. Now, if India can outsource successfully, if Philippines can outsource successfully, Nigerians can do the same thing. What do you need? It's just giving them what it takes, making the environment conducive enough for outsource to function, especially one we know about Indians. Some of your 800 numbers goes to India,
Definitely.
goes to Philippines,
Definitely.
goes to all these places. So what you want to do is have a stable electricity, have a stable IT network, have a stable telephone system, have a stable communication system, in short. And the people are there. There are a lot of cheap labor in Nigeria.
Definitely.
Which, if these companies come over here from United States and say, okay, let us transfer some of this, have these people working with us from Nigeria, it will work. But they have to look at some certain things, whether it's in place.
Definitely.
The communication system, the electricity system, the stability of the country itself, and a lot of things works together to create a conducive environment for such thing to function. So if we don't have it, it will be difficult for them to invest in that outsourced stuff. You could present your people. Nigeria is always ready. They have the labor. The only way to accept any investor who is coming for kind of partnership in outsourcing and stuff like that. But they have other things they look into before they could throw their funds, throw their effort, and make that move. If those things are not there, power, communication, stable government, and all those kind of security, all those kind of things, if it's not in place, they're not going to come there.
Because I believe if the outsourcing opportunity is being created there in Nigeria, that would open up a lot of opportunities for employment. Because we have a lot of graduates, that are highly educated, but haven't been given an opportunity. They've not even gotten good jobs. And being able to work under these foreign companies is really a great opportunity for them, that I would think. I mean, don't you think so? Because we have major corporations here that are rather outsourcing to India, China, the Philippines, their call center, mostly customer service or IT if you call certain, like you said, the 1-800 numbers.
We have the, I'm sorry to cut you short, we have the lab. We have what it takes. We have the intellectuals. Our Nigerians are very intelligent people. They read hard. They are able. What we need is get the right structures in place.
First, to allow this foreign corporations.
For such things to flow. In fact, it will be a very good thing for us because a lot of graduates, you see, I did a research. There are a lot of, about 100 universities in Nigeria. About close to 70 polytechnics, about 54 colleges of education. All this put together graduates almost 1 million students every year and thrown into the labor market, and there's no job for them. Every year you have about 1 million graduates entering into the labor market, and there's no job for them. So we have bunch of unemployed youths looking for what to do, where to release this overdue energy in their system.
Very true.
So if you don't give them such opportunity to have something to do, that is why you see all kind of agitations and vices everywhere.
Very true.
So hopefully
the structure would be in place in Nigeria.
To enable such thing to happen, it will help us to reduce unemployment and also help the security situation over there.
Very true. That's very important. Like you said, energy efficiency, electricity, and also security it's really important for foreign investors to come in to invest for that. But Nigeria has to be, the foundation has to be laid in Nigeria first for other
First,
foreign.
you don't tell somebody to bring in his millions of dollars or to come and help out over there. How do you feel if you call 800 number and the answer from Nigeria and you are still talking the phone we cut?
Exactly, that definitely I will not be impressed.
They'll
about
say that the NEPA took light.
Well, yeah, I know, that's so.
And they will say that communication failed.
Very, very true.
And they will say there was a bomb explosion at the back of the.
Yeah.
So these are things you have to put in place to enable them to come and train their funds.
Well, hopefully we hope progressively in the near future, such opportunities will be available, especially for the new youths and also for those that are still, the intellects and those that are ready for this. We're ready for change. So change is coming. You're one of those that we believe will,
Well, the present administration in Nigeria said they came for change. They were borrowing from Obama.
Okay.
So they came for change. Have you seen the change?
Well,
what we are trying to do is to see, it's a lot of muddled up here and there.
Yeah, it's not a one-man show.
Most Nigerians are frustrated. Look, I'm not a happy person, when I see what happens in Nigeria. I live there.
Personally.
I live there. I live in Nigeria. I also live in the United States. I live in Nigeria. I live there. When I see what is going on over there, when we come here and see what they have over here, look at what is happening in our country, nobody's going to be happy.
Very true, very true.
Every of our prayer is for us to, find a way to make it better. And it's going to be done by those on top over there.
Yeah, it starts from the top.
Very strong cabal, very strong, tight system. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we hope for change, especially since you're almost going to be going in. So we hope that certain individuals like you would actually work with the great indigents of Nigeria to bring about change, because we're really dying for change, both in abroad and even here. And I believe the support system is in place, but it has to start from home base for others to come out, foreigners to, for investors to come in and say, let's invest, in all confidence, trusting in the country, Nigeria, because I know that trust factor, it's a little shaky for foreign investors to come in when it comes to outsourcing for Nigeria. Now, let's just go ahead and break into another question. When it comes to education, we're talking about education now. Can e-learning solve the educational system, educational crisis in Nigeria? And what will make the public educational system work?
You see, it boils down to the same thing we just talked about, outsourcing. E-learning has to do with technology.
Sure.
The same power, the same system, the same everything. It should be successful if those, we are losing a lot of things in Nigeria. One single structural fix, everything will just fall in place easily. And they know it.
Are they ready for e-learning?
Why would Ghana celebrate electricity uninterrupted for more than 10 years? Why Nigeria, every day we still have this power outage every second? If you happen to get electricity in Nigeria for consecutive 3 hours, you go to Thanksgiving on Sunday.
I know, as opposed to a neighboring country.
Why should we be that bad? We have the resources, we have the intellectuals, we have the money, we have everything. So if you get all these things put in place, e-learning is where everybody's going to.
That's a new trend.
That's a new trend everywhere. All these aspects of going to rent a classroom, drive in, drive out, if you have something is well packaged and put in place for e-learning to, strive smoothly. Do you know that every Nigerian wants to be a graduate? Every single Nigerian.
Yes.
Have you seen the number of people those days writing JAM?
I know.
In my own time, how it was?
Else, yeah.
Everyone wants to go to school. And they want to get to school so easy. So e-learning is something that could work anywhere, have a smooth, stable, power, electricity, IT, everything. Then it's easy for us to function on that platform. But for now, it's not going to work. The internet is not effective. The power is not effective. The school system you're talking about, let me go back to that, go to the school system a little bit. You're talking about a public school. Public school, public school is where other system failure has been. When we went to school, it was much, much better.
That was in your days.
Yeah, it was much, much better. But now, what we see there is I mean, it's appalling. If the system is bad, it's a chain reaction. But we'll get there, honestly speaking. I mean, I'll be very fair. People say I say this. I've written an article about this. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, he was fantastic. From 1999 to the time he left, a lot of things changed in Nigeria. I've had problems with people because of my support for him. I've wrote an article about him, which I call President Olusegun Obasanjo, the myth behind the man. You can Google it. The myth behind the man. He was fantastic. I don't care what people think, but today, this article was written in 2006. Today, people are seeing what I saw in 2006.
Awesome. So they can now go and Google.
They can see President Olusegun Obasanjo, the myth behind the man. Okay. He was fantastic. Oh. He was one particular man that if you can evaluate his administration to what we have after him, you can see he is the only one who can single-handedly say was detribalized in appointments, in leadership, in almost everything. Oh. They may not believe me. They may not. A lot of people cannot go my route, but that's why I view him. Okay. A lot of things changed.
So right now, do you believe that the educational system in Nigeria is in danger of collapsing? You know, why or why not? Do you have that belief?
It will not collapse.
Okay.
The reason it will not collapse is the zeal of our people to go to school.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, every Nigerian wants to be educated. Anyhow, if they get a little job that give them a little money to find any nearest school to go to, they will go. In fact, the good thing that happened to Nigeria is that they privatized giving some license to private universities to operate.
Very true.
A lot of people have shifted from where we have to get it. When I was entering university those days, we talk about 240-something cutoff mark, 260, 280. With private universities, competition setting, I've heard the other day that with even 130, 150, people are getting to universities now. So the bottom line, like America do here, is that education. Make it easier for them to have access to. Let them get in there. If they can't make it there, then they could drop out if they want to. But let them get in there first. Yes. A lot of people could not pass JAM those days, could have been even first class if they had access to universities. So the private universities came in to expound education in Nigeria. The private schools came in to expound education in Nigeria. So if the government is not functioning properly, there are people taking it upon themselves to set up private schools from kindergarten to secondary schools to tertiary institutions, and people will just patronize them. And their costs are considerably competitive among their peers. So it will never fail. But what it really shows the failure of the government in their own aspects. So they are taking over. So Nigerians are resilient people. They're not going to just go down. That's why we are still standing.
Never say die.
Never say die with all the problems over there.
Now, but besides the private school and also the public schools, also we do have some trade schools for those that are not able to afford. You know, those that probably don't want to market.
Then one kind of trade or the other one?
Exactly.
No, they have. There are a lot of them. You know, I just mentioned the three core ones: universities, polytechnical education. There are nursing schools. There are technical schools. There are, what you can call draftman schools, where they learn how to draw houses. There are a lot of schools everywhere in Nigeria. So anybody who really has the quest, like I believe Nigerians have, go to those schools to learn something. And they are doing fantastic work. So education in Nigeria will survive. Okay. And hopefully, if people like us are allowed to come into the system, we've designed proper approach to solving all these problems. We will collaborate with our friends and partners in the United States and other Western world to bring some things in Nigeria to change the system the way they are. It's not working well now.
Yeah, most definitely.
So a lot of things has to put in place, and it's aggravating. It's very painful.
Okay. And throughout education, I know unfortunately for those that have graduated and they're out, I know unemployment is actually one of the most pressing problems and issues in Nigeria. Now, what strategies do you think they have to be implemented for foreign investments to lead to job creation? To alleviate a lot of unemployment.
See, unemployment strives when there are no jobs. When you have job, you have employed youth individuals. Sure. So what happened, like you rightly said, foreign investment flows into Nigeria, people get jobs. When Obasanjo was president, I'm not talking for him. I have not even met him before.
Okay.
You know, when he was president, we had a lot of foreign investment flow into Nigeria, a whole lot of them. As a matter of fact, communication system was liberalized. Your grandmother or your mother or whoever is in your village, they can answer if you call her from here. They can talk on the phone. We never had that opportunity before. Phone used to be 090 for the big boys. 090, that's what they carry up and down. So you will never have access to. He liberalized that sector and licensed some communication companies to come into Nigeria, and they are flourishing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
He went into a lot of areas and did some very fantastic things for Nigeria. He also upgraded what you can call the capital base of banks, set up a bank, because then people were losing money in banks. There were maverick criminal banks that set up today and close up tomorrow. People lose their money. He recapitalized banks. The next thing that you have to deposit up to now 25 billion with central bank before you can have license to operate a bank. That stabilized the banking system to an extent. And banking was thriving. People were being employed as well. So there were a lot of oil were being sold. Money were coming. Investments were coming. Everything was good. So, and the government was fairly stable. The economic team he had. The due process which this lady was handling, what's her name again? Very popular, they will just bring back our girls. That Igbo lady.
Bring back, I'm sorry.
You know, she was handling the due process, which was fantastic.
Okay.
There were the finance minister, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was fantastic in her job. She did a very good job wiping our foreign debt. You don't know the impact of foreign debt on an economy. Just like when you're owing money. You use almost 30% of your
unpersonal
GDP or whatever it is to service those debts. Wipe it out, run a clean slate. A lot of things work well there. So if you have a good system that is stable, that is thriving, that is working very hard, I forgot to mention this, Nuhu Ribadu was created during that time, and Dora Akunyele were also in NAFDAC. Things we are looking very, very fair, and things we are working well. After a while, start receding. So what I'm saying is that a strong leader with a good vision, with total unbiased approach to policies and issues, because we are a highly tribalized nation, we do well in Nigeria, and open the door for foreign investment. And there will be less security threat that will hinder foreigners coming in.
So now, tell me this, in reference to, we're just going to back up again, in reference to the banking sector that you talked about and also investments, I know definitely, I think for the past couple of years, there's been this new, is it BVN number that has been created whereby every individual...
That was a good move.
So you believe that was really a great move?
Fantastic move.
So what changes would that affect, or has that brought about at this point?
I will tell you what changes that may have brought about. A lot of people get involved in financial mess or in banks, borrowing from bank A, bank B. You see, what kills a bank is really borrowing. You see, when you get in together, the top owners of the bank are involved in these deals. When you borrow from so many banks, some businessmen too, and you don't pay back, which is mostly what is happening all over the world. What that goes to happen is that when the bank don't have enough fund to function, they die. So BVN enables the bank, just like Social Security number in the United States, enables the bank to identify one individual to one account. If you have multiple accounts in different names, which Nigerians could do all the time, but you can only have one BVN. One BVN can only function with one account. Enable the other accounts, once you apply the BVN in them, it means it's a duplicated account, so there's a problem. You can't borrow from bank A and go to bank B and put the same BVN. We know that you have already borrowed from bank A.
So do we have individuals right now with different BVN numbers in Nigeria?
They cannot have different BVN number. That is why I'm saying that the BVN allocated to you as Joy stays with you as Joy. It's going to be only one. But remember, before BVN, Joy could be Joy Mbong, Joy Edet, Joy Achibong, Joy this thing, having funds in different banks.
Heard her.
And borrowing money there with all your connections and whatever. You can even borrow with your house girl under her name. Then,
I can't believe that.
And the rest of them. That's what we are doing. So now with BVN, you can only have one. And you can't have access to a bank without a BVN. So if Joy Mbong has a BVN, Joy Edet wouldn't have. Because if you put Joy Mbong BVN on Joy Edet, it's not going to function.
And opening up getting a BVN number, it also DNA is required, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it identifies an individual to a particular account. So
Okay,
it kind of solves a lot of problems and also enable bank to recover some money and also stop so much losses.
Looting
And the rest of them.
Okay, that's great. All right, so now let's draw it back again to politics. Now, can you identify the challenges that might be faced during the next upcoming primaries?
Well, let me use myself an example. We mentioned something about politics earlier in this program, and I just talked it on the periphery. I've been part of politics, strongly politics. And as a matter of fact, the last election I ran,
Okay.
I ran for House of Reps
Awesome.
in my state, in Imo State, there, Nkwere. And we had so many challenges, you know. And I've been in politics for so long that, you know, challenges, instead of receding, sometimes it seems as if they're multiplying. I remember during the 1991-92 political, that's actually when I came into politics for the first time. I was a young man, probably about 22 years old. I had this very fantastic man from the north called Mr. Adam Audu Maikori.
Okay.
He is the father of Audu Maikori, the Chocolate City Boss, the music label you hear today in Nigeria. Father of Audu Maikori. He was former director of public prosecution in Kaduna State. He ran also for governor of Kaduna State. Okay. I used to go out with him a lot. I was living in Via, and he was living in Dauphin Estate, Ikoyi. I come in the night, we drive out together going for political meetings. Okay. He was in SDP, then the others were in NRC. I wasn't involved in politics, I was just following him around. This young man, called Audu Maikori, then was in King's College. You know, I used to stay in their house most of the time. And the politics then was thriving, as if it's going to be one of the best we ever had. You know, that's the elections we are coming, Bashir Tofa, Abiola, and the rest of them. Abiola won that election.
Very true.
And it was annulled. A lot of resources, a lot of effort, a lot of things went into that election. And it was annulled. It was heartbreaking. So you never know, it's never over until it's over. The trend came back to 1999 in an effort to amend those problems that the annulment created, which almost divided Nigeria. That was when OPC was formed. That period, the think tank came together, led by Alex Efueme and G34. They came together, they formed what they know about PDP. PDP structured Nigeria through the 6 geopolitical zones in a way that will enable power shift. Because the Yorubas, after OPC was formed, I'm saying based on what your challenges, we are talking about challenges, political challenges now.
Most definitely.
See, the Yorubas, due to annulment of June 12th election, never wanted anything to do with any election in Nigeria again. Because their son, Abiola, won. You understand? OPC was formed. In order to pacify them, ameliorate the problem, the power that be, who formed the G34 that later became PDP, Alex Efueme, Article, and the rest of them. And what was the name of the article? Yeah. They structured Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones. 3 in the south, 3 in the north, allowing the power to shift between the north and the south through the 6 geopolitical zones. Now, because Abiola was denied, and Yorubas were angry, these people in PDP now said, it will be in our constitution, and let this shift, power shift between north and south in Nigeria, start from the southwest. So we're going to field a candidate from the southwest to carry the Yorubas along, because they were ready not to have anything to do with Nigerian politics. Again, that was why Obasanjo was brought by PDP. Remember, he was in jail.
Very true.
Which Abacha put him there for phantom coup plot. That is a fact. They put him there. He was brought out and was made a PDP presidential candidate. And from that time, it was all smooth. When he finished his 8-year term, he took the power back to the north through Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. And every other thing now is history. Now, Yar'Adua died only 2 years on that platform. Jonathan was the vice president.
Very true.
Which was also what PDP agreed upon. Whenever the North takes over, somebody from the South should be the deputy. Whenever the South is in charge, somebody from the North should be the deputy. So because Yar'Adua is taking over to the North,
there has to be a South.
Some Southern, where was how Jonathan was picked up by the PDP. All these things are within the PDP party, not within what Nigerian constitution. But PDP was so powerful that people thought it was a one-party state. So they were so confident that they would win every subsequent election. So this was what they planned. So in that process, Jonathan was picked up to back up Yar'Adua. And Yar'Adua died within 2 years. The North were not very happy that their own person couldn't complete. That was where most of us came in. But all those things are history now because those political jam, you know what happened?
Yeah.
After the guy died, Jonathan spent the rest of the 2 years that remaining for Omar Yar'Adua and contested. A lot of us, we love Jonathan so much. Honestly speaking, he's a complete gentleman. But we told him, just like I told Obasanjo when they were bringing this Buhala, he's going to come for the third time. I was among the few who wrote, you were one of the fantastic presidents we had. But the time has elapsed. All this many constitutional rumor that was going everywhere, don't be part of it, let it go. So we can remain one and keep going based on the constitution of Nigeria. So I'm coming up, not done. I know you're ready to get, you wanted to know the challenges of politics in Nigeria.
Very well.
You will get all of them. Eventually, what happened was, this particular Jonathan, after I wrote about it, go and Google it. The implication of President Jonathan in 2011. I wrote this 2009, 2010 or 11, I don't know when I wrote it. But between that period, it's online. The implication of President Jonathan, 2011. I told him, don't go. Let's continue. But a lot of people felt, how can he sit on this seat now? What we'll be looking for this while. I say, PDP believe in rotation. We started all these things. Let's after 2 years of remaining of Yar'Adua, do it as president. Do convention, and let another time I come in after the rest of the 4 years. But it was as if I was the only voice in the world shouting. Nobody wanted to listen to me. A lot of people say, let him go. But rotational presidency gives what you can call a kind of opportunity for the minorities in Nigeria who doesn't have the clout, the strength the Northerners have, the number in military, and all those things to produce presidents, if you had allowed it to go. The challenges there was, if Jonathan leaves after 2 years remaining of Yar'Adua, what will happen? Would you think an someone who takes over from that time will not like to spend 8 years? He will just do 4 years and give it back to the South?
Certainly not.
That's what people were saying. They say they're not going to do that. If they get in there, they will never leave it again. I said, but is it not someone that picked up a Southerner from prison and make him president? He did it. And now someone signed for the, what I can call constitution of PDP, this is where it should go. They did it. Give them benefit of doubt. Because we have started this process already. Nobody want to listen to me. He went in there, finished the 2 years of Yar'Adua, and knocked another 4 years. And was going for another 4 years. That was when the whole brouhaha started everywhere. So, you see, it makes sense for what they are saying, but then I believe in agreement, harmony, understanding. As we say, let it be the way it is. What are we now today? So you never predict Nigerian politics. We have a problem right now that has to do with the president being in London a couple of months, off and on. And a lot of political...
Asylums going on.
A lot of political alliances are being made here and there. Even his own party and his own people are already coming against him.
The concerns.
You know, so you can't even predict what's going to happen over there. You understand? So what it's going to do is, as the trends are going, you align yourself to where you think you're going to belong and play along with them and see how it goes. But it's going to be very, very tough. The president has not said if he's going to go in or not, but I know the people around him will tell him, you're not living here. You're going to go again for the second time. Well, where is the energy to go for campaign for the whole 36 states? You've got to have an energy and strength to be going to campaign every nook and cranny to do that. Where is the energy? So it will be a very commonsensical for somebody to come up and say, look, I have health challenges. I just want to let this go. Let me just get somebody
to replace.
See, when Boris Yeltsin in Russia knew that the turmoil of Russia was becoming too strong for him, and his health is not helping him at all. He announced on the public radio that I'm old, I'm tired, I need a young blood to come and sit here. I'm appointing Putin. Putin didn't, he was appointed. The man brought him there and resigned. Putin has led Russia strongly to today. So you can do the same thing. If your strength is not giving you the wherewithal to navigate this turmoil, we have a lot of problems and they are multiplying every day. Look at the Boko Haram, look at the Niger Delta, look at the IPOB, look at OPC. In fact, I saw what they call Yolicom from Yoruba land. They said it's Yoruba Liberation Command. They are setting themselves up. So how can you navigate all these things? With your health? Isn't it a suicide mission? What I'm saying is, polarize the whole fragments, bring them together. Keep them strong. If you love Nigeria, if you want Nigeria to succeed, do the right thing for Nigeria. And we all know the right thing. The problem, we are ethnically centered. We are tribal individuals. We have not released our whole, our tribe. I'm from here. We've not look at Nigeria as a one nation where all of us have a stake in, and we must hold it to survive.
That's real talk.
We have never done it. When we start looking at the concept of Nigeria as our own, and we want to make it survive, we know the right thing to do. And me and you know the right thing. The thing inside us that create that, the prejudice, the hatred, and they didn't start today. This prejudice and hatred started far. You have to look at YouTube. What our folk, especially from North, I'm sorry to say this, that's the one I saw. When somebody made a comment about a certain tribe, it pierces the heart.
Very true, of course.
So you don't, as a leader of a group of people, you don't make such comments. And as a leader of a very powerful group, you don't make such, and when you make such comments, people think that you don't like them, you're not for you.
Based on the comment.
Based on the comment, and you are the leader. And these are leaked tapes. When tapes are leaked, you are killing the heart of people you want to bring together as one. How are they going to function with you? So the bottom line is, we need what you can call total and honest reconciliation. Bring the whole thing together. Apologize where necessary. Let's move forward. We're going to make it work. If you can't do it that way, then what you are calling for is, people call it secession. People call it true federalism. I call it confederation. I've wrote about it before. Go and Google President Professor Ben Nwabueze's Bloody Revolution, published by Sahara Reporters. I wrote that many years back. Professor Ben Nwabueze and Bloody Revolution. They were talking about Nigeria, and somebody was saying, I want a bloody revolution in Nigeria. That was where I interjected. I wrote a rejoinder. And my comment, after telling them how it's going to be, I said, confederation could work for Nigeria. If we cannot hold together the way we are united, let us kind of have what we can call confederation, where based on the 6 geopolitical zones, where the 6, geopolitical zones can become a kind of a state. Southeast could be a state, South-South could be a state, Southwest could be a state. This fragmentation of 35, 36 states doesn't even help us. Call it the way it was. Call the 6 geopolitical zones, call them into states, and then confederate them. Let them be on their own, make money from their land. Whatever percentage of money they make based on their natural resources and whatever, they contribute a little to the center to manage the standard currency, army, or whatever you have there, whatever you have. But let them have their own police and authority. So I gave those options as a way forward for Nigeria. So if they could look at it and they want to work with it, these are what other people are echoing the same thing. So we can't just be the way we are. It's not possible. Let me tell you, I'm sorry I have to say this. I know I'm taking your time. Listen. Just yesterday, the army took an armored vehicle and went to IPOB leader's house, Nnamdi Kanu. From the video clip and what they are saying, I listened to it from channels today again. They were saying that they shot somebody. I saw somebody shot, almost on the torso, bleeding to death. The IPOB version of the story was they killed some people, they wounded some people. The police version of the story, according to channels, was the army was testing an armored vehicle they just repaired. And when hoodlums confronted them at at the Nnamdi Kanu's or IPOB leader's house. You know, the question is that where to test an armored vehicle you just repaired? No, that's funny. Yeah. Then some hoodlums confronted them, then they shot in the air. But police was saying that some people were shot and wounded, nobody died. The army spokesman, director of information, was saying that what he's going to tell us is the real story, that police may have their report, but the truth is that this is what happened. They were just passing by and were confronted with hoodlum throwing all kinds of things. And nobody was shot. And some army guys were wounded. I'm not saying these are not true or these are whatever it is, but you should remember that they had Operation Crocodile Smile in the East before they are having a crocodile python dance. Have you ever seen where crocodile smile before?
Certainly not.
Have you ever seen why python was dancing?
Certainly not.
So you see, the thing is, they are having in the East and all those kind of things, and anything can happen. So we can't continue to live like this. Certainly you can't. It's not like conquered people. You can't continue to function like this and expect the polity to be quiet.
Very true.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to start from the up there, you know, genuinely, seriously, honestly, have good intention to make the system work and implement that approach to make it work.
That's what we'll
So if you do it haphazardly, with dubious intention, with prejudices, it's not going to work because Nigerians are intelligent. Once you go out from what I can call the norm, or what I can call the best practices, deviated into those things that people can see as being, you know,
and implemented.
People can see as being, you know, targeting against them or hurting them in any way, or policies that affect them negatively, or things they will react. We are human beings.
Very true.
Once you do that, people will react.
Okay. So right now we're just going to go ahead and take a commercial break, and then we'll continue back, as we know fully well there are a lot of more questions that are out there that I really want to ask you, you know, in reference to the new frontier. So we will be back in 5 minutes. We're just taking a commercial break, and then from there we're going to be back again with Honorable Alex Osuala, international publicist, and we're going to be dealing with the new frontier moving forward for Nigeria. Stay tuned.